Hey guys, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. How are you? Let's just get right into things here, guys, because we have a lot to talk about. We have a very special guest in the studio today. You know, I refer to this woman many ways. My BFF, one of my new BFFs. Two, kind of like a legend on the New York scene. 3, a legendary real estate broker. But I feel everybody out there knows you only as one thing. Dorinda's broker from RHONY. Please welcome Laurie Cooper.
Hi, David. How are you?
How are you?
I look forward to this. Let's.
You look so nice today, too.
Thank you.
You know, you are always dressed appropriately, I have to say. And I'm not just saying that. You're like, well, you told me that on your Instagram, you post all sorts of real estate things, and then you post all sorts of pictures about your fashion. Everybody wants to talk about your fashion.
Not even about the celebrities I'm posted with. They're more interested in what I'm wearing. That gets the most response.
Really?
Yeah. They just want to see how I look, what I'm wearing. Everyone wants to look great at a certain age. Everybody looks at you and says, wow, doesn't she look great? What is she wearing today? And then it's all trendy, great. People out of New York see what a real New York housewife should be dressed like.
You're a real New York housewife.
100%.
And you live in housewife territory. You live on the Upper East Side.
I do. And I go to business, and I dress appropriately for business, and I dress appropriately for going out. And this
you
is
come
what
downtown.
New York's all about.
Your favorite, just from doing a quick stalk of your Instagram now that we're friends, your favorite downtown places I see you at, you're at Pastis all the time. And you love Mercer Kitchen, right?
Love it.
I think those are your two.
Latusi. There's a few great spots downtown. It's just such a pulse, and it's young and vibrant. And all my Hollywood clients want to live down there.
They all want to live downtown.
They want to live down there because it's got a bit of Europe. It's great.
It
the
does.
Cafes are great. You feel like you're in London. It's just a happening at all hours. You go out at night, 11 o'clock, there are people walking in the street.
The meatpacking is like Europe. I think there are more Europeans in the meatpacking than there are.
And all of Hollywood buys apartments down there.
Yeah.
Young. Everybody under 50 wants to live down there.
It's kind of true. Although, you know, I've been going through, I don't know if I would call it a midlife crisis. I've been going through my first real estate crisis in New York. Now, you know my story. Really, we're going to get into how you've shown me some amazing apartments lately. I might be moving, guys. Not outside New York. So I always lived in the West Village my whole adult life. I swore I would never leave the West Village. Then I made the big move uptown to Chelsea. For those of you not in New York, Chelsea and the West Village are about 2 streets apart. I mean, 1 street if you get technical. I know you take credit for this, and I maybe give you some credit. Like, listen, I know what the Upper East Side is. I've been going to the Upper East Side since that's where my whole family lives. You kind of take credit for kind of reintroducing me to my Upper East Side roots. I've been on the Upper East Side a lot lately. I'm going through a crisis. I see the benefits to living up there. I don't think I'm ready. You're looking at me like you're like, David, you're not ready to move to the Upper East Side. I'm not. Right?
Well, I'll say one thing.
Tell me.
This is the best city in the world for walking. You can go everywhere by walking. The streets are really very short as you go uptown. Avenues are a little longer, like York 1st, 2nd. But
I would never live.
I think what you're most interested in, you just love the Regency. You love Park Avenue. It's a different crowd. It's more of a sophisticated Upper East Side crowd. But you go there, then you can go downtown, then you can go to the West Side. It's very easy to travel New York. New York is the pulse of the world. We are the city of the world.
This is
There's
true.
so much happening. So I've seen real estate evolve over the last bunch of years. Used to be you only lived uptown. You would never go downtown.
Never.
Then I started selling East Village. I would sell whole blocks for nothing, buildings for $450,000. Drugs were sold on the street corners.
Yes, they were.
Now, it's a totally different, it's real happening. European restaurants are there on 2nd Avenue. It's a great area. Everything's great in New York. You've got the Upper East Side, you've got the West Side, you've got Lincoln Center, Central Park, in the center of all that. Then you go downtown, it's a different pulse. But many times I walk from downtown, uptown.
You're a
We
walker.
have the city of the world. Why do you think there's so much real estate being built? Everyone wants to live here. Who
They do.
doesn't?
I
It's
would
the fashion
agree.
center of the world. You feel good about yourself. Many times I go to Europe. I have my beautiful clothes. I get dressed. Nobody's dressed. New York, people are dressed. They go
Yes.
out. They go to dinner. They're not in jeans. You can do whatever you want. If you feel like going to a hip, trendy restaurant and get yourself dressed up, you can. This is what's great about New York. You've got the theaters. You've got the most wonderful museums. You've got great fashion stores.
And you've lived here your whole life.
My whole life. I
Me
grew
too.
up off of Fifth Avenue.
Oh, so you grew up on the
Uptown.
Upper East Side.
My
But
real estate's always been on the Upper East Side, but then I started showing downtown, and I said, "Oh my God, this is so great!
it's a whole nother world.
I love it all. I love it all." But downtown's young. I feel young down there.
You do?
Yeah, you go into a little cafe, you have a cup of coffee, and you look at all the interesting people. It's very much a people-watching area.
Oh, this is why, I would never live outside New York. But this is why you're a great broker. Because what you said, your analysis of me is very correct. Where I say I want to move uptown. You say I don't want the First Avenue, Second, Third. You say I'm just attracted to the Regency and Park Avenue. That's 100%
Easy.
true.
Easy to walk up
100%
there.
true.
Easy
I've been
to
looking
walk
at
down.
all those
You get
buildings.
tired of being in the sophisticated bar. You go downtown. You can do anything. It's a matter of 30 blocks. It's really 40 blocks is nothing walking in New York.
Well,
I do it
listen.
all the time.
I agree with you. I walk everywhere if I could be. That's why, in general, New Yorkers are in shape compared to like other places. We walk. Not everybody. Laurie's rolling her eyes. Not everybody, but it helps. And see, as my good friend, and we don't need to talk about him because that's a whole nother show, but yes, at the Regency the other night, I made a statement that maybe I should move up here. And my new good friend Harry said, you would last about 2 weeks before you got really bored and were dying to go downtown. So I think you're right. I think I go to the Upper East Side with my newfound life in play, and I should stay where I am. And you showed me, listen, I've started looking. You've shown me some great apartments, some great investment properties too.
That's an important word. And
There
it's the
were
right time
some-
to buy now. New York's New York, the city of the world. If you can find a great apartment now that you dream about and you have such a low interest rate, why not buy it?
But what
will
about-
happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Tell me.
The stock market is high, and people are afraid to take money out of the stock market. Trust me, it's going to go down, and then you have nothing. If you have a piece of real estate, you're living there. You don't have to spend rent money. The rental market is very high. It's going to get higher now because we have limited rentals. Be aware.
And because
everything
nobody's
converted in
buying.
New York. What's left? Any decent high-rise building has converted. New construction's coming up, and it's not rental buildings. It is condominiums. You want to own what you live in. It gives you a sense of security, and you could fix up your apartment. You don't have to move out. You don't have to worry about anything. And I really feel if you buy a great condominium, you can always rent it out. You can buy it in
Yeah.
a corporate name. You can buy it in a shell corporation, whatever. It's your home. What you have to buy is location, location, location.
I agree.
And always buy the least expensive and the most expensive location. You go for a very expensive building, buy the least expensive in that building. If the apartments are going at 10 million, 12 million, you buy the one for 2 million. Believe me, there's always a buyer for that address.
I would
Very
agree with that.
important.
Some of the places we saw, I could tell you somebody would always want to live in like a couple of those.
It's a great investment.
I mean, the
still
West
feel
Village-
strongly about real estate. I felt strongly about townhouses 30-odd years ago. I felt they're the future. If you want to rent them, if you want to live in some of it, you could always have that house and you could finance it any which way you want. And again, the most important thing, no board approval.
And you love real estate.
Love real estate.
And
It's
how-
been a great ride. I've gone to the Academy Awards. I've been guests of friends who have castles in Europe. It's been a great run. Most interesting people.
And
Every
how
day
did
is
you
a
get
new
involved with
experience.
Dorinda? Like, you just met Dorinda one day, or you've known her forever?
I had a client call me, and they really liked me, and they bought an apartment from me. And their daughter was going to school with Dorinda's daughter. Well, maybe she was like 5 years old.
Hannah.
And Hannah was at Sacred Heart. And I met Dorinda, and we really hit it off. We had the best time. I met her former husband. He was from London, and he was looking with me to buy something. Now I think back, oh my goodness, he should have bought that apartment we looked at. It was $595,000 between Madison and Park.
Wow.
Mistake, but who knew what the future in New York would be? But I knew if you are a single mother, you want to be in a good building, and you want to own it. You want to have stability for your child, and you want to have a good investment. So she went and bought that great apartment. That was the best investment she could make. Has a swimming pool, health club, and it's got 12-foot ceilings. Actually, some of the rooms are 15-foot. It was the old Gimbel's department store.
Oh,
so they were
wow.
able to create this height ceiling. And this was unique because it became downtown, uptown. These apartments had loft-like feeling. And so you walked in, you saw the height, you saw the double height window, and she had the view. And she had great location. Central
It's all about
Park,
the location.
2 blocks from there. The train, 1 block from there. Everything's there. You're surrounded by the most expensive real estate in New York, where townhouses have sold $50 million, $60 million, just a block away. And then the schools are right there. Easy drop off. Drop your child off at their private school, drop your dry cleaning off. On the way home, pick up your dinner. New Yorkers are great for picking up dinner.
Yeah. Some of us don't cook.
Hello, can you deliver, please?
My
this is not true in
stove-
Europe. It's only in United States.
My
more
stove
likely
has
a big
wine
city.
in it. I keep wine in my stove. I literally had to tell my cleaning lady when I hired her a million years ago that if you ever turn this stove on, like, I don't know what happens when there's wine bottles in a stove, but it's not going to be good. Have you been to Dorinda's rental? Her new rental?
Yes, I have.
It looks nice.
It's
I mean,
nice.
it's all the way
got
over
a lot
there.
of space. She likes it. It's very different for her. It's got space. It's got light. It's got views. But she still loves her apartment, which she's in the midst of renovating.
I
It's
can't
going to be
wait.
fabulous. She's going to have brand new kitchen, new floors, absolutely wonderful renovation.
And are we going to see that? You said, so you were on the past seasons of RHONY. Now you filmed some current upcoming
I did
stuff.
before she renovated it. But we knew what she'd be doing, and the apartment's great. And it's even better now. It's almost done, and great
I can't
rental.
wait to see it.
Great rental. Great
I can't
rental.
wait to
Great
see it.
investment.
And didn't you just run into her? Her and Harry Dubin at, what was that? That Hudson Yards, like a few weeks ago. I saw you
Avenue.
posted.
Avenue magazine has been relaunched, and they had a
Oh.
great party at Hudson Yards. So much fun. I ran into Harry. Of course, Dorinda was there, which I was thrilled about, and a lot of celebrities were there. It was just so much fun because I ran into so many people I've seen on the social circuit. So
It
we
looked
had
like a
lots
fun
of
party.
It was fun. Everybody was beautiful. It was just a great happening. And Hudson Yards is fun to go to. I mean, we had, it's just got a pulse down there.
It does.
And it's a pulse that if you have a party down there, you can go and have drinks afterwards right there. It's a little city within the city.
It is.
Every area has its pluses. So this is what's great about New York. It's not boring. You go to Europe, you go to some of these great cities, they go to sleep at night. No one's around. Here, if you want to have a drink, if you want to have dinner, 12, 1 in the morning, you know where to go.
If you want to order Indian food at 3 a.m.,
and you can order in
yes.
from any restaurant at any hour. And that's the way it is. We don't have our guests at our home anymore.
No.
We go out. We have fun. Again, if
Well,
you can't
that's-
sleep, you go out and you find a bar that's open. It's just, you're never lonely. How can you be lonely? You go to these great bars, and you meet people all alongside of you talking.
Yes.
Just like the Regency's so great.
I
Back
went
to the Regency.
back to the Regency.
Everybody goes there.
Remember
Even
that
at
night-
11 at night, you never know who you're running into. So I have these favorite spots that I feel like running into celebrities or socialites or friends of mine. Just head to a couple of places uptown. But then, David, be aware.
Yes.
The pulse is not everywhere uptown at night.
No.
You're just seeing what's up in the 60s. You're not in the 70s and 80s where most people have gone to sleep.
Laurie,
You're
I have
only
no
at the
interest in
pulse.
ever being in the 70s or 80s. I could tell it that I would stand by.
So-
I'd like to go just to the Regency. That's
No, you
all.
could.
Well, to your point, the night that I texted you, where I mean, yeah, sometimes I'm good last minute. You know, I got a lot going on. Remember that night I texted you and I'm like, do you want to come to the Regency in like 1 minute? Like, I'm here because I was going to meet a friend. I was alone at the Regency that night. Harry wasn't there, so I couldn't hang out with Harry. I sat at the bar for 2 seconds. I met this woman. We started chatting. I was like, I'll be here for 1 drink. 5 drinks later, I'm still there. And now we're like BFFs.
There you
So this is like, listen, you don't need to tell me. I love New York. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you is, you know, to your point, like this is a city where real estate is a huge thing, you know, and the brokers are superstars in themselves. What do you think of the whole phenom of like $1 million listing? I mean, it's a great idea. I mean, I know there's other cities, but what do you think of New York $1 million
$1
listing?
million listing's fabulous. It's a form of entertainment. It's not just the apartment and the $10 million apartment they're showing.
But they're great to look at, those apartments.
It's the beauty of New York. Each apartment's different, and the demand is so great here for these apartments. And these brokers are really entertaining you.
They are.
It's just a form of entertainment. Wow. They make you laugh. And this is what reality's all about.
It is.
Making you escape from your everyday chores, and you live the hour, 2 hours into these shows like that, like the New York Housewives, like Beverly Hills Housewives, New Jersey Housewives. Each one has its own great scene. So you cannot wait to turn the TV on, and there it is again. You continue in their lives. You could be ironing your clothes for the next day, ironing your husband's shirts, and you're escaping into the world of Beverly Hills. The lifestyle of these people just woos you, and you feel so good about yourself, and you feel good about
You
them.
could pretend you're
And
friends with Erica Jane for a few minutes.
there you go.
That's worth
And they're
it.
all fabulous. Each one's got something going for themselves, and it's just wonderful.
And since we're friends, I already know the answer to this question, but I mean, I can answer it for you. Out of the $1 million listing boys, I know who you would want to sell your apartment if you could only pick one. Ryan, right? Isn't he your choice? Like, if you couldn't sell your own apartment and you were going to move tomorrow, you told me you would pick Ryan.
If you're
disagree
asking
with
who
me.
on the show, I know Ryan a long time, and how he got successful. He was in New York. He was an actor in Hollywood, so he's able to look the part. People like that look. And most importantly, he was a lister. He never stopped. He kept listing apartments.
True.
That's the trick. It was a listing city. If you had a listing, your friend gave you her expensive apartment, you had the keys, you opened the door a bunch of years ago, 10 million, 11 million, 6 million. Hi, hello, you sold it. Now it's a little different. This market is a bit more challenging because
Yes.
now it's not the listing, it's the broker, how she sells an apartment. So now you separate the men from the boys. Now it takes real salesmanship. And for me, it's easy because I believe in it. And if I believe in something, I go with it. It is the time to buy. You should own your home. Why spend this money on rent? You're wasting your money every single month. And you know what? The city is going to get better and better. With all that's going on around the world, the money keeps coming here. It will continue again to come here because let's face it, this is where it's all at. And I really feel that if you buy a unique apartment, even a small apartment, may not be so unique, but it's in a great location, you have your home. You decorate it any which way you want. Your friends come there. Your parents stay there. This is what it's about in New York. And all these new condominiums that are coming up, there's like 18 coming on the Upper East Side. Guess what?
That's crazy.
They'll be sold. They'll be sold. No question about it.
They will.
New, fresh condominium, no board approval now. This is what the city's about. And the co-ops that are out there, where my clients would say, I don't care if it's a co-op, standing proudly and standing straight. I could afford to buy it. I could afford, and I know I'll pass the board. But again, let's be realistic. There are boards of directors, and they're very cautious who they bring into their building. You may be very qualified, but they may not like something about you, so you turn down. Condominiums that have come up in the last bunch of years, they can't turn you down. They're not going to turn you down. A lot of people make a lot of money, and they're spending it, so they don't have much. And so when you have a condominium, you don't have to have 3 times, 4 times the value of the apartment. So this is where the market's at. And David, I really think you should put your money into the market. You have made a lot in the past.
That's why you and I have an appointment on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. We don't need to say where, but we have an appointment and we're going to look, and I'm very excited for that apartment. However, which I'm excited, not however, just switching gears, but I am very excited. Like, trust me, this is going to be an amazing look. And yes, Laurie has shown me great apartments. And if you're going to move to New York, this is who you should be calling. And Laurie will do a picture with you too. She'll show you an apartment and do a picture, like when we went in that other apartment and the guy was fangirling out over you. But I need to talk to you about something else, because technically you made your, I call it Broadway. Some people call it off-Broadway. You made your Broadway and off-Broadway debut last week or the week before. So we need to talk about the amazingness that is Bitch Sesh. So Casey Wilson and Danielle Schneider have really, I don't listen to other Bravo podcasts at all. There's not one that I listen to except for that. I love Casey Wilson because she was in Happy Endings, one of the best TV shows that has ever existed on ABC. It was like a dark Friends. That's how I describe it. It was like just a darker version of Friends, the show. And it was great. And so their podcast is great. And they do this live tour, Bitch Sesh, which I've gone to see many times. And I'm going to compare this round to the last round. So every time they come to New York, they do 2 shows. They always do an early show and a late show. I always go to both shows because you never know what is going to happen at the early show and what is going to happen at the late show. So I was going to both shows all along, and I just, happened to mention it to you. And the next thing you know, you tell me that you are going to their hotel the night before. And I almost fall out of my chair because, what? You're going? I know you're Bravo royalty, but tell me all about that. Then we're going to get into reviewing the show. But the night before, Casey and Danielle reached out to you and they wanted you.
No, they reached out to me months before.
Wow.
And told me they were coming into New York and would I please have some time with them. They wanted to have some talk with me, go on their podcast, talk about comedy, real estate combined. They are so funny. And
so
they
funny.
Are so great. And it was I had such a great time. And they chose the right person because I could not believe the response of the audience when I showed up that next day.
We're going to get into it. Yeah. When we get there, trust me, I've got a lot to say. The audience went crazy. But this is how my crazy mind thinks. Now, when they reach out to you, who reaches out to you? Was it Danielle or was it Casey?
Danielle.
Really?
reached out
Okay.
to me. Yes.
I know
yes.
these are minor points, but these are the things that excite me. I'm just curious. So Danielle reaches just out to you and just says, like, we're Bitch
They were
Sesh.
going to stay at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and they would meet me there. And, of course, I was excited because I love Bitch Sesh.
Love.
And I watch them, too. It's not just a podcast. It's who they are. These are such talented women.
So
and
talented.
Smart and savvy and funny. Really. They come up with the best questions, and the show is great. These people that were in the audience that came and asked they asked questions and gave us so much information.
Amazing.
About the Housewives, things we didn't know. And so this was like incredible. And I really loved it.
And so you went. So the night before. So the two shows were on a Saturday. The night before Friday, you went to their room, one of their rooms. You hung out. You filmed this video, which was going to be used in the show, and you had a good time.
Had a great time. We talked about a lot of things. But they make you feel very comfortable. They ask you the right questions, and I just knew it was going to be great. I just knew it because they're great.
Were they drinking, chilling?
Well, they were offering me drinks, and I wouldn't
it.
because I would spill the tea too much if I had a drink.
And you don't really drink that much.
I don't drink, and they said next time they come into the city, we're going to have tea with me, and
I'm dead.
Spill the tea.
I'm dead. Like, I would cut off my arm to have tea with fucking Casey Wilson. And Laurie's being like, they're reaching out to her from all over the world. I can't. Because literally, I would cut off my arm to have tea with Casey Wilson. But Danielle has grown on me. She's really... And you know what they were great in, too? There was this show on Hulu called The Real Housewives. This is before Bitch Sesh. It was called The Real Housewives of Orlando. And it was like a spoof on the Housewives. It's great. It was only on for like 2 or 3 seasons. But I highly recommend it. So, all right, so let's review. So we're going to get to your part soon because, yes, the audience went absolutely crazy, and we have to talk about that. And I have to tell you about the first show, which you weren't at, which they also went crazy at. So the two shows were exactly similar. We're going to talk about the show. So basically, the show starts, and I have to say before I even get started, I've seen them live many other times. These two shows were the best they've ever been. I feel like, listen, like, it's kind of like Countess Luann. When she started her show at 54 Below, it was good. It was a small audience, and now look at it. It's touring the country in these huge venues. I feel Bitch Sesh has always been amazing, but they have risen to another level. Like, I feel their popularity has gone from, like, amazing to, like, this is so freaking legitimate now. That's honestly how I feel because the guests are getting bigger. So, first of all, the show starts and they come out to the Vanderpump Rules theme song, but it's slowed down. How did you feel about that? Because I was ready to like drop the mic right there.
I thought it was great.
It was amazing.
It was so great. It was just, I did not expect that. I have never seen them perform.
Isn't it?
And I was really, really impressed. The audience
they were singing.
Was rocking and rolling with everything they said and everything they did. They were just perfect.
And also, for anyone who can't picture this, like they used to come dressed as housewives in the past. This time they made a comment that they wore their own clothes, so they were dressed up. But I mean, picture this, guys, for everyone who's listening. They're each carrying a large martini glass, and they're basically walking in slow motion. And the Vanderpump Rules theme song is playing in slow motion. And they're singing. They said, during sound check, the guy was like, oh, you guys can actually sing. They're actually singing. They have voices. But really, the best part of the whole thing is in the background on the screen. They're showing the opening credits for Vanderpump Rules. And it says, like, Stassi, Jack, Sheena, Kristen. I mean, listen, what a great way to start. And just timing-wise, Vanderpump Rules this season just came back. So it's kind of amazing. Although I haven't watched this season at all yet. I've heard mixed things, but I know you're watching it. I'll watch it eventually. So they start with that, which is amazing, which I thought, right, the audience is going crazy. Then they immediately start to talk about we're here and we're celebrating, but we have some people to show respect to, like some rest in peace. And then they talk about Vicky and Tamra and how they're no longer on the show. You're shaking your head, Laurie.
Well, no, I'll tell you what's great
Tell me
about
your
them.
thoughts.
I'll tell you what's great.
Tell me.
It was in the news, and this is not something that they had planned. They just do it as it comes up. This is the great thing about them. So what's yesterday, they're talking about today, not from months ago, because there's so much that evolves every day. Social media is amazing.
It's changed the world.
Changed the world. I just can't believe how many millions of people. I stopped reading the Times. All I do is my social media. But then you catch up on everything and everyone, and you have a lot to discuss with your friends because you're all watching the same thing, reading the same thing, and you all have similar interests. And it really makes it for a lot of fun.
And yes, I agree.
Lots of fun.
I mean, I don't know what I would do without my Instagram. Like, my heart pounds if I have not done a story for half a day. Like, I'm literally like I'm letting people down. That's the first thing.
You're like the fans. There's so many fans that are so dedicated.
You got to do it.
They are really dedicated to Bravo. This is what's amazing. It's lots of young people, but it's a mixture. There are older people also. I meet them.
Yeah.
They live in my neighborhood. I say, really? You watch me and you follow me on Instagram? Oh, yes, we do. So,
yeah, like, do you get stopped a lot walking around New York?
A lot.
And then do you get stopped?
People remember me from that little clip of being in Dorinda's apartment. They said they saw me and they never forgot me, that I left such an impression on them. And I'm like in awe of that. I can't believe it. So this has continued, and it's can't be anything better
They also
than this.
saw you somewhere else. Bartender. Watch What Happens. That was major.
That was
major.
Fun. Yes, and Andy's the best. And
now you get invited back anytime you want. You told me you went to see the whole Brady Bunch cast.
I did the Brady Bunch. I love Andy. And he did a shout out how he loves me to the audience.
He loves you.
I really had the best time there. I'm always having fun. I put my real estate to the side and I do this. So the combination is fabulous. So the social media has been very good to me. And,
it has been.
I just want to continue. The more I can do, the happier I am.
It's
and
all
there's
about-
a demand to see me, so I've gotten various proposals, and we'll see what this all leads to. I'm great on Cameo. I've got so many people on Cameo wanting to see me, and they give me 5-star rating, which is great.
Excuse me.
Thank you, David.
Who got you on Cameo, Laurie?
You did, David.
Okay. I will give you credit for reintroducing me to the Regency, which I've turned my back on for about 15 years. And I am there all the time now because Laurie has reintroduced me. I thank you. Thank you for giving me credit.
And where do you eat a lot? Le Biblique.
Le Biblique, you see? That's my
Another
after
one I
hours.
said
That's my
you should
after
go to.
hours. I do the Regency for drinks and then Le Biblique.
Try it for lunch. It's great.
This is how I became like BFFs with Harry. Literally, I mean, I also walked right up to him and I said, like, we need a few moments here. But yeah, I'm the Regency
and I see
Le Biblique.
everybody there lunchtime.
Well, see, this is why I love it there, because you go there and it's the same people. Yes, I think if I was there 7 nights a week, it would not be open. But it's enough that it's literally like an upscale Cheers. And to your point, I mean, I have booked, we don't need to get into names, but I've booked a lot of upcoming guests on this pod just from going there. Like people that are really good. So it's good for business too, even though it's fun.
Look, it was made famous by Bravo and Tom.
They should listen.
And everybody went there. And everybody goes there now because it was
they should do
publicized.
something. I don't know what, but they should. Because at the Regency, they don't care about anything except your money. Like, there's so much crazy shit going on there every night. I mean, okay, did I tell you my story the other night I was there? And this has nothing to do with Harry or anything. I was there with a different friend, and some guy was in the corner, and this guy got up And I was sitting right next to my friend. When he was leaving, he knelt down and whispered in my friend's ear, "Please don't tell my wife." And he was
Well, that's what's there.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but let's face it.
Yeah.
They're there to pick up women, and the women don't care. They know.
Listen, the women there don't care. That just have the American Express Black Card, and that's what they care about. But I have to say, it's also the best popcorn in the entire city.
It really is.
Right?
You know, that's the truth.
Thank
the best
you.
popcorn. Pizza's good, too. It's
The
just
pizza's good.
It's light food any hour.
And let me tell you, I know you don't really
Do you hear
drink.
me, Regency? I should be staying there free.
You should be.
Because it's such a... We plug it because it really should be plugged. It's great.
And I know you don't drink that much. Their pour is a freaking heavy pour. Oh, my God. I do the vodka, the double vodka on the rocks. They fill that shit up. So that makes me happy. Okay, we're off track here, people. So back to Bitch Sesh, where Laurie made her huge debut. So they do the Vanderpump Rules, they do the R.I.P., they talk about like Vicky and Tamra. You know, I mean, it's an interesting thing about the Housewives. It's like, it's such a bigger discussion. You're gonna have to come back on. It's a bigger discussion. Like, where do you go after? Like, Tamra made $900,000 and now she's gonna make $0. What do you do? I mean, okay, $900,000 is decent money.
Per year.
If you save
per
it.
year.
Yes, but did she save money? I'm telling you, the key to making money is to never rise really to whatever level you're making. That's my honest advice. Upgrade your life, absolutely, but whatever money you're making, don't live at that means. Choose below. If you used to make $50,000 and now you make $900, live like you make $500 or $600. This is my honest advice. So I don't know. I think it's a very hard thing.
No, if you're smart, and you have to be smart, if you're on that program and you get all this press and you have all these followers, think of something business-wise to
Side
make a lot
hustle.
of money. And of course, we know where that went. A lot of these people went into various businesses and they're very successful. So you have...
And some aren't.
A lot are.
I mean, Lynn Curtin cuffs. I don't know if that does so well. I love Lynn Curtin. I just don't know if the cuffs. Ramona Pinot Grigio. I don't know where that is anymore.
Well, Sonia's successful with her clothes. She's very smart.
Sonia
and
has
savvy, so she knew what to do, and I give her a lot of credit for it. Really.
She's in Century 21 now.
I just think it's great.
That's
her clothes
major.
are fun. They're inexpensive.
I was just going to say they're
They're
affordable.
trendy, good for young girls. It's just... She's smart. And realize
Luann.
Bethany. Look at Bethany. She's a perfect example of turning this little program into $75, $100 million and going. So if you come up with a great idea like she did.
Yes.
Remember, she was living in a studio. She didn't have any money.
With the little parquet floors.
How she turned this around. And Dorinda's smart. So Dorinda's doing similar. You can learn, watch, and learn. And this is what you do. You create some kind of need, you have a demand. Your clients are really the ones watching you. And they'll buy anything with your name on it.
True.
So let's really think about this. If you're smart, you turn anything into money.
True.
If your name is attached to it. And you got to run with it while you can. Because I think when your time is over, you're just an old housewife. I don't think people are as interested in you as they used to be. Because there's always that new one coming up that's got
it's a fast-changing world.
Yes, that's it.
Well, they did the RIPs, and then, which I thought was a nice start. And the one thing Casey said where she was like, say what you want about Vicky, because everyone was booing. I like Vicky, but she's like, we wouldn't be here without Vicky, which is kind of true.
I think what they did with the changing faces of Vicky on screen was fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing her, I don't remember the program from the very beginning. And then there she is, looking so different. Every photo of her
I forgot about
the
this.
past years has changed. So she's redone herself Time
And
after time after time. She's had a great run. She built up her insurance business.
She has.
She's made a lot of money.
And I mean, that I totally forgot that even happened. The funny thing is they play Man in the Mirror. So they're playing Man in the Mirror, that song by Michael Jackson, while they're showing, I mean, man, Vicky's a
Clever.
woman. It's like, it was hilarious. And
It
guys,
was so
they
clever
literally
and funny.
showed every face Vicky has had for the past 10 years, from beginning to end. And yes, you saw everything pre-Slade saying she looked like a pig. It was brilliant. And then Man in the Mirror, which is by Michael Jackson, and they're saying it was
Shows you how talented these girls
brilliant.
are. Because
Brilliant.
these girls are not just talking about the Housewives.
Brilliant.
They have this planned. They are so smart. They turn this into great entertainment. And people were watching, hysterical. I couldn't get over it. And you want to see her again. You want to see them again and again.
And also, this is 2 shows back to back in New York in a big theater. That's
Sold
a big
out.
sold out.
Sold out.
But then, okay, so after all that, then they came to the guest portion. Now, this is where we have a little bit of discrepancy. We're not up to you yet. We're going to get up to you. The first show, because we got to get everything, guys, before we run out of time. The first show, it was prior to going to Broadway. It was at 5 p.m. So Jerry O'Connell, who's on Broadway, was one of the guests. Now, right there, that's a pretty big name compared to some of their past guests, which he was in the same acting, like, troupe of comedy back in the day with Danielle. So that's the connection. They like, these girls call in their favors.
Oh, I'm so sorry I missed that show.
And then we have Adam Paley, who's really good friends with Casey, who was on Happy Endings. So we have 2 A-list guests for the 5 o'clock show. Adam is on Broadway too. But then Jerry says to Casey and Danielle, I have a surprise for you. So Casey's like, oh, where is? He's like, I have to bring it out from backstage. This is a true surprise. The girls did not know this was happening. And Jerry's like, bring out the surprise. And out walks Andy fucking Cohen. The audience goes fucking ballistic. Excuse my language, Laurie. Ballistic. People, they didn't expect him. Casey and Danielle literally fall to the floor. I mean, they're playing it up and they're being funny, but that's brilliant.
But they were surprised.
They were
Totally
so
surprised.
surprised. And the funniest line was like, Casey was like, we are shooting way too low. Like, if we knew we could get Andy Cohen, I don't know why he dealing with Jerry and Adam. It was really funny. He had tickets to the theater with his parents, and Jerry was like, I guess Jerry said what happened earlier in the day as he was talking to Andy, and Andy's like, what are you doing tonight? And he's like, well, I can't meet prior to Broadway because I'm doing Bitch Sesh. And Andy was like, I'm jealous. And Jerry was like, jealous? Like, just come along. It was brilliant. So they were the guests. They asked some questions. The most interesting thing Andy said is Tamara did, because, like, I don't know if you know, on Instagram, Tamara and Andy had an Instagram Live after she quit or was let go or whatever. And it was so interesting. Andy said he thinks he's going to build into the contract exit interviews. He was half joking. So like it's going to say in your contract, like, whenever you get fired, you have to do an exit interview live on Instagram with him. It's kind of a brilliant idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in your contract, you have to do it. So that's brilliant. And you know what the other thing he said, which I thought was brilliant, is because all these people are walking off. Like, Denise Richards didn't film a lot of this season because of all that drama with Brandy. Lisa Vanderpump last season didn't film because of all that drama. Tinsley walked off the damn fucking show. So Andy said that going forward, probably, there's going to be a different contract where you get paid for what you film. So you make this much, you'll still, so Nene gets $2 million a year. She'll get that prorated for the full season, like whatever an episode. But then, because Nene's also not filming. She didn't film a lot of Atlanta.
They get paid for not being there, which is not fair.
Could you imagine? So from now on, Tinsley, you want to go
right.
off to Chicago? I mean, Tinsley won't care. She has the money. But for some other people, like Nene's all about the coin. You don't want to film. Guess what? You get paid for it. You don't want to show up for the season. It's brilliant. It is actually brilliant. So yes, I mean, and Casey was making a joke. She's like, in what world, only in New York is the 5 o'clock show more spectacular than the 8 o'clock show? But anyway, that's just because of Andy. So they did that. Then what they did, which was really funny, and they did this in both shows, they did the recaps. So they like played out a scene from Atlanta and they played out a scene from Jersey. So, and it's literally like in the first, so I mean, we all know I'm really good friends with Margaret Josephs. So the entire time I was texting Margaret because Adam Paley was playing her, and then Adam Paley was playing her, and Danielle Staub was being played by Jerry. So like when Danielle pulled the ponytail, I was like, is Margaret gonna get mad at me? Because it really is a traumatic thing that happened to Margaret. Margaret went fucking crazy. She absolutely loved it. She was like, I mean, listen, imitation is the highest form of flattery.
100%.
So the whole time I was like, can I post this on Instagram? And Margaret was like, I'm dead. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then in the second show, when Casey played Margaret, it was also really funny. So they did recaps. They like literally acted out that whole thing when Danielle was calling her the C word. It was really funny. And Margaret was like, this is hilarious. Post it. So now we come up to you. Well, first of all, before we get to your part in the show, so you came to the second show. Now, right then, so during the first show, I made some new friends, some people who have been on Bravo. We'll get into that later. So I said I was meeting you for the second show, and they're like, we're not leaving. We like need a picture with Laurie. They were like literally dying that you were coming. So they waited outside. I'm like, I know, Laurie, you can get your picture. Just stand here with me. She's going to be here. So you pull up with your husband and your son. I love your husband because he showed me his Gucci belt right away. He admired my Gucci bag. So points to that. We all know that I love Gucci. And then my friends got a picture with you. But yes, then when Laurie walks into the theater, you can't walk 2 feet. Every single person wants a picture with you.
100%. I was in such shock about all my followers loving me and telling me they've been watching me, following me, and they think I'm the best. And of course, I have all my friends saying, and all my followers, you should be on TV more often. You should be on Housewives. You should be a friend. More likely that. But the amazing thing was my husband could not believe how my fans actually were all over me. It was so much fun. I had the best time. All these young women loving me, loving what I wear, loving what I say. It's the best.
It's true. Because, like, listen, you get recognized around New York, but it's true because even when the whole reason I met those two guys were a woman came up to me during the first show and she's like, I am a huge fan of yours, of mine. And like, you're way more in the public eye than me. She's like, I listened to your podcast. She wanted a picture of them. The two guys were behind her. They're like, we're huge fans of yours too. So like, even though you get recognized all throughout New York, when it's at a Bravo event, it's like intensified. So your husband probably never saw that. Like this was a Bravo event and like your fans went insane.
I have fans in Australia. I have someone that called me from London through Instagram that wants me to find him an apartment. He's moving to New York, and he would be thrilled to work with me. So
this is good for your business.
This is great for my business.
It
because
is.
They know that I'm an icon, and whatever I do, I would never waste anybody's time.
No.
Just like I didn't waste yours.
No.
Tell me what you want, and I know what you want, and I will not waste your time. I know where the deals are. I know what's right for you.
I mean, listen.
It's like being a matchmaker. I'm a great matchmaker.
But
match up with apartments, match up with husbands.
Really? You want to fix me up with a husband?
I might find someone for you.
Okay.
I'm great at that.
I mean, we'll talk about that. That's a whole nother show. But no, it's true. Like, listen, if there were a gun to my head, I could have bought like at least 2 of the apartments that you showed me.
They were the best.
One of them I loved. The other one, I loved the building. And then the 2 investment properties, I could have made money. So, like, you do listen. You do listen.
When you buy an investment and it's a low carrying cost in taxes, there's your best investment for a rental.
Listen, we
and
have to talk.
And
it isn't a building,
yes.
Demand. It's a building right near Andy.
Demand.
It's
right
very close to Andy.
Down the street from Andy.
But it truly is like having
territory, his great, and he's there for 20-odd years. This is his territory.
And it is a building that will always
gym
sell.
Is. This is where he goes for his coffee. This is where he goes for his dinner. This is where he walks the dog and the baby. This is it. And if you can find something that's well priced in that area, trust me, forget the Upper East Side. That's where you should be.
Yes.
You've had apartments down there and you made tons of money
I've done
now
well.
you're living off all that in the stock market. So you're
That
savvy and smart, and you know if you buy real estate, you're touching it, you're feeling it, you see it.
Listen, it's because of my real estate investments and a company that I had that I'm able to see. I'm just a mere conduit. I am here for the listeners of Behind the Velvet Rope. It's because of that I'm able to do this full time every day.
And you love it.
I mean, this is my life. I'm here for the listeners. I mean, I do love it. Like, Laurie sometimes texts me and she's like, I don't, what? Like, what do you mean you're in Texas today and then you're at the Regency
I can't believe
tomorrow?
where you travel, all to follow the Housewives. But it's fun. I understand where you're at.
Honey, yesterday I woke up at 5. This is a whole nother, we're not going to even get into this. It's a 5-hour show coming up. I woke up yesterday at 5:30 in the morning so I can go to the gym at 6:30. I need an hour with coffee first to go to Huntington, Long Island. You know how far away, honey? It's like almost in the Hamptons for something Bravo related, just to come back and then go to Fashion Week for more stuff. Like
You
I don't
live
know.
for this.
Kind of.
Not just
Laurie's
you.
always
There's so many followers like this. They love it. It's just
Well, that's the whole genesis
it's
for this
exciting.
podcast.
Every day you wake up to new excitement.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah.
You're following other people's lives. You're part of their lives. And everyone wants to hear it. Everyone wants to talk about it. So that's where we're at with this.
This is
It was
why
a brilliant idea that
this podcast
Andy
is so
Cohen
successful.
came up with. And
Brilliant.
I thought of this 20 years ago, and someone said, really? You think people are interested in my searching for real estate?
Oh, yes.
I said, yes. It's a story in itself, what we go through when we're showing apartments. You know everything about that person's life, and that's what makes it interesting.
And so the whole thing, your fans went crazy, but then you were up on the screen, which was a funny clip of like Danielle looking for an apartment,
It was
thinking
great.
she was going to pay $500,000 for
No,
something.
100.
Oh, 100. Excuse
500,
me.
you might find a little tiny back of the building studio. 100,000, 200,000, no such thing. And that's where the fun comes into play.
It was a funny clip, and the audience went crazy. And they then had you stand up for all of those fans that didn't see you in the entranceway, and then that's when the whole audience went absolutely insane. Because like if you're sitting up in the balcony or whatever, I don't think everyone saw you until you stood up. Then everyone went absolutely crazy.
The power of social media. It's great.
You know who was at the first show too is Jackie Hoffman, who I've sat down with to interview before. She's a huge Housewives person. So, and Rick Leventhal's daughter was there. It's like this was a who's who of like.
That was the best of all.
Yeah.
What she told us.
Well, you know what the funny thing is like.
What about Luann's backup dancer? He was
yeah.
there. I mean, these people just showed up,
Luann's,
got to the
forgot.
microphone, and spilled the tea on these famous Housewives.
I forgot about Luann's backup dancer.
Yes,
and
he was great. He was great.
Well, you know what the funny when he also put his hand to his nose. I didn't say this. That's what he was insinuating. But do you know? I forgot about that. But you know what's really so? Two things. One, I know Rick Leventhal's daughter because one night I was at Watch What Happens Live. And I came out. I was waiting for a picture, I think, with like Brandy Glanville or someone. And she too came up to me and said she's a huge fan of my podcast, Behind the Velvet Rope. And I didn't know who she was. She just said that. But it was the night Kelly Dodd was there with Rick. Then I was in Florida. I was backstage because I went with Dolores, and Rick was backstage because it was Dolores and Kelly and Ramona. And Rick was like, I know exactly who you are. My daughter's a huge fan. I'm like, oh my God. So I love her. What was my point?
Adorable.
She's
Adorable.
adorable. She has a boyfriend. Well, you know what the funny thing is? People, because right, so that's another part of the show. You get up and you get to tell your stories about boots on the ground. Some people, and like, you know how Casey's very professional. She's always like, if you don't think it's interesting, don't get up. Because some of them, you're like, that there's nothing interesting about that. People
But
always,
we were lucky. We had those.
we had good ones. The backup dancer was a good one.
Backup dancer, and she spilling the tea. That was so great. And she was so enthusiastic about telling us, and that's a show in itself.
It is a show in and of itself. But this is the funny thing. People always say to me, well, like, why don't you get up there? I mean, you know what? Behind the Velvet Rope, people, tune in. You want my boots on the ground? Here we are. Like, I can't get up there. I have 8,000 stories. It's like, but it was great.
The stories have stories.
The stories have stories.
But you have to admire all these women because they keep going, and they come up with new storylines all the time. And this is what's so great. You never know what they're going to say.
No, it's literally the gift that keeps giving. So, I mean, I think, am I missing any
Give
other
them
highlights?
a drink. That's all I say.
Tell me about it.
And that makes them say a lot.
Well, not for nothing. I say this. This is what I said to Ramona when I had dinner with her in Florida, and we broke the fourth wall and we were talking about the show. Personally, that to me is what makes New York the best, because they, and I mean this with all due respect, because I'll say it about, it's like they're all drunks. And I don't mean that in a negative way. The Jersey girls don't drink. So it's like these other cities, sometimes like in New York, they just drink so much that more happens in one evening because you're just drunk. It's like going to the Regency. It's like everyone there is like, doesn't know what day it is at night. And you're like, this is you know what my friend says about the Regency that I go with, my friend Jessica? She's like, not the Jessica you think I'm thinking of. Because
that's what I'm thinking.
No, God, no. That's a whole nother story. Let's not even get into that. She's not a friend. This is my friend Jessica Heller. She's like, she calls the Regency dinner in a movie. She's like popcorn in a movie, because they give you the popcorn. She's like, I just eat the popcorn and I just sit back. She's like, I don't need to say anything. The craziness that ensues there.
But you know what's great about it?
What?
Everyone talks to each other.
Everybody.
So
it's
no
cheers.
one is
it's the Upper East
really,
Side cheers.
You go to a bar, you never speak to anybody.
Never.
Or if you're sitting at a table, you never would even entertain the idea
Never.
of conversing with the people at the table next to you. So this is what's so great about it. There's a few like that in New York. I find Pastis Bar is
You
great
do?
as well. Yes.
I'll have to go there again.
And when I go there,
You
I
like
see a lot of my
pastis.
fans.
Really?
They say, please take a selfie for some reason or other. That's the area they're in. And it's the...
You like pastis more than I do. I have to give it another try. I've only gone once since it's reopened. I'll give it another try. Wait, but now as far as Bitch Sesh, are we forgetting anything? See, you brought up I forgot about Luann's backup dancer. What else? What other tea did he say? Oh, did he say any other tea? I think he said Luann was sleeping with her musical director.
Yes, he did.
I don't know.
And on stuff, whatever.
Yes.
It was very unflattering.
It was.
But you don't know what motivates people to say these
right.
things.
Like, listen,
so
you
we
take
don't
everything.
really have
yes.
a lie detector test that
No.
we're giving them. So people are motivated by
their own 5
various
minutes.
things. Maybe they're no longer with her and they want to just
Yeah.
say terrible things. So I'm always very cautious.
Me
and I hate
too.
to repeat things unless I hear them myself.
Me too. Or unless I see them.
Why damage that person's reputation? It's wrong.
I think so.
I mean, they have their own stuff that we can talk about, but making up stuff, until I know it's real.
Me
I
too.
did believe, though, Rick Leventhal's daughter.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And she
That's for
said,
sure.
Ramona's a bitch. Well, okay.
And Ramona
Sure.
did not introduce my father. I did.
Yes. Yes. That, Rick told me the
Kelly
same story.
was someone she fixed
Yeah.
up with her father. So there you go. Kelly Dodd's another story. She's great.
That's a whole nother story. And then so I think we're not really forgetting anything about Bitch Sesh, right? We are kind of, I don't know if this was in your show.
Rapping was great. The rapper,
That was great.
she was great.
I forgot about her. She was a rapper.
And she follows me, which is rather
Oh,
interesting.
she does?
Yes,
I
she
have to
does.
follow her. So I think like the first show, Andy Cohen being there was really, I mean, people went crazy. You being there at the second show is what people loved. And the first one had Jerry O'Connell and Adam Paley, who are big freaking names. And I'm not done with Bitch Sesh. I am ready to see it. Like, they're on a tour. And, oh, they're going to use that video of you. You told me they called you, and they're going to use it now, like, on the tour.
Yes, that's what I'm told.
I believe that because it's a good part of
They
the show.
said it was so funny. They just want to bring me up as
People
a
loved
surprise
it.
guest.
I'll
again
tell
and
you.
again and again.
I told you I'm going to go to some more shows. You'll come with me. All right. So as we wrap up, anything else that you want to say, Laurie? I mean, we're BFFs now. We like to hang out. Your show. We have an appointment Wednesday to look at an apartment at 12 o'clock.
Your dream apartment, by the way.
Well, that's the other thing, guys. Like, I have to.
Let's
like,
see what you sometimes think you missed, and you go back another time. You say, "Really? I'm not sure."
And
so you have to go back twice, but it might be what you really want.
And to your credit, let's just talk about how this came about, guys. This apartment is not on the market. I said to Laurie, these are some, listen, I know real estate too. Like, my second obsession is probably, well, Housewives and Bravo is first, but second would probably be fashion and real estate. Like, I have some side obsessions. I'm not really a foodie. I mean, I love food, but like, whatever. So I know the building. So I said to Laurie, not only is this building a building I'm dying to live in, I'm like, there's only 2 apartments in the building I want. This one and that one. And Laurie's like, well, I'm just going to send them letters. And I'm like, LOL.
No.
Oh.
That's true, but better than that, I researched the owners of the building what position they're in. And a lot of them are being rented.
Right.
And I looked to see the expiration of the lease.
She
I
did.
saw this lease was coming up. Brokers do that all the time. Listen,
it worked.
It happened to you.
It did.
They knocked on your door and said you want to sell it. Frederick
Eklund knocked on my last apartment.
So here I asked the broker that had rented this apartment if they're willing to sell. And you know what? The answer was yes.
And now we're saying it.
And now we're going to look at it. So we'll see.
I'm excited.
It has a lot that you want: working fireplace, outdoor space,
location,
condominium. So
gym in the building.
Just where you want to be.
Gas fireplace. And
this is
I'm excited.
Apartment. But wait and see. We'll wait and see.
We're gonna
But
wait
you're
and see.
smart. You're savvy. You've made money in real estate.
Yeah.
And this is the dream of everyone. Buy it and sell it for more money.
Yeah.
So you have to know what you're buying to be able to do that.
And anyone coming to New York, anyone in New York who wants to change apartments, where can we find you? You are the broker to call. Where can we find you on Instagram?
Laurie Cooper at Douglas Elliman.
And on Instagram at Laurie Cooper Realty, right? I think Laurie Cooper Realty. And really, if
Laurie_Cooper Realty. Find me on Instagram. Reach me on Instagram.
Your Instagram is amazing. And listen, if you can't remember all that, you guys can always find me, and I can reach out to Laurie because I speak to her literally 100 times a day. And I'm at David Yontef, YONTEF. And remember, you can book me on Cameo for a very bargain basement rate. And you're welcome,
5-star Laurie.
You can book Laurie. Laurie gives good maybe I'll book a cameo with you, Laurie. Maybe one day you'll do a video for me. And
Valentine's Day is coming up, everyone.
You're very good on Cameo. And remember, guys, well, Laurie, first of all, thank you for coming. You need to come back. You're an official friend in real life. You're an official friend of the show now. And just remember, Laurie, I don't know if you know this because you see me all over the world, but many nights I really do just want to stay in. I want to watch some TV. I want to pour myself a bath. I want to light candles, maybe read a book. I'm really tired and I want to just sleep and rest. But let me tell you, I put on my big girl pants and I force myself out because I, David Yontef, can best serve all of you behind the velvet rope. Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you. Great fun.
So much fun. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Wasn't that good?
Very good. What do you think, Michael?
It was good, but you